DeWanna Bonner's name wasn't even cold in Indiana before Phoenix Mercury head coach Nate Tibbetts spilled the tea. In a now-leaked moment that igniting the entire WNBA fan base, Tibbetts casually admitted that Phoenix had been working for multiple seasons to pull Bonner away from the Indiana Fever. No, not a slip of the tongue. Not a misunderstanding. A straight-up confession to long-term tampering. Off-the-books recruitment that completely undermines the integrity of player negotiations.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
And suddenly, what looked like a normal player move has turned into one of the most blatant, bare-faced scandals the league's seen in years. Now, Caitlin Clark's team is caught in the wreckage. The Indiana Fever, already fighting tooth and nail to build a real contender, are dealing with the emotional whiplash of investing in Bonner as a veteran cornerstone, only to find out she may have been eyeing the exit the whole time. And it wasn't just a spontaneous decision. Phoenix's long game wasn't subtle. The reveal from Tibbetts wasn't some strategic misstep. It was a peek behind the curtain of a franchise that believed rules were suggestions, not boundaries. Fans aren't buying the business decision angle. They see sabotage. This isn't just about Bonner. It's about power. It's about how larger market teams like Phoenix have the audacity to run recruitment campaigns like they're assembling Avengers, while smaller franchises like Indiana are left playing defense with broken trust and zero backup. That's not competition. It's corporate chess with rigged pieces. And when the league stays silent, it looks like complicity. It looks like favoritism. It looks like tampering isn't just tolerated, it's rewarded. The outrage isn't performative. Indiana's chemistry was compromised. The Fever's trajectory, already hard-fought, was disrupted. One player leaves, but the ripple effect on morale, trust, and team structure is lasting. This was a calculated play, and whether or not league officials act, the damage is already on the scoreboard. This isn't just about one player changing jerseys. This is about a carefully calculated, behind-the-scenes operation to pull a veteran leader out of Indiana Fever and plant her in Phoenix. And they didn't even try to hide it. With that leaked comment from Tibbetts, it's clear this wasn't spontaneous. It was premeditated, coordinated, and deeply unethical. Tampering? Yeah, that's not even up for debate anymore. It's written all over the coach's face. So, how did we get here? And why is everyone, especially Indiana fans, furious? Let's rewind. DeWanna Bonner had been a crucial piece for the Indiana Fever, a veteran presence, someone who could mentor the younger talent and help build a strong foundation. Indiana was investing in her, not just as a player, but as a leader, the kind of player you structure your locker room culture around. And yet, just like that, she's gone, off to Phoenix. At the time, fans were surprised, maybe even confused. But now, they're angry, because that departure wasn't just a career choice. It was a final step in a recruitment mission Phoenix had been plotting for multiple seasons. And then the video drops. Tibbetts doesn't deny it. He laughs. He brags. Like this was all just part of the game. As if tampering rules were more like suggestions. That's what hit hardest. Not just that it happened, but that it was done so shamelessly. You can feel the shift in the air. The trust fans had in fair competition cracked. The belief that every team has a level playing field shattered. Indiana fans aren't just upset. They feel betrayed. They had a vision. They were rebuilding. They were doing things the right way, drafting talent, nurturing chemistry, growing the team from the inside out. Bonner was supposed to be a pillar of that vision. Instead, she was yanked out of the blueprint mid-construction, leaving a hole in the wall and a pile of resentment behind. And now the league is staring at an integrity crisis. Let's talk about the real issue here. Tampering. It's supposed to be a hard stop. No back-channel conversations. No whispered promises. No long-term grooming of players under contract. But if a head coach can casually admit on recorded footage that his team spent multiple seasons trying to recruit a player who wasn't even a free agent yet, what does that say about enforcement? It says the rules are optional, apparently. Or at least, they are if you're Phoenix. Because let's be honest, this isn't the first time a bigger franchise used its weight to get what it wanted. And fans are tired of watching smaller market teams like Indiana invest in player development. only to have those players poached by glossier teams with more clout and looser morals. This isn't just about DeWanna Bonner. This is about a system that lets bigger fish eat smaller ones, while pretending everyone's swimming in the same pool. And the fallout is brutal. Indiana's progress? Stalled. Team chemistry? Shaken. A promising rebuild interrupted because another team couldn't wait their turn. Bonner's sudden exit didn't just leave a gap in the roster. It sent a message to the locker room. Loyalty isn't rewarded. Playing by the rules doesn't pay. And if you're in a smaller market, good luck keeping your stars. The fans feel it. The players feel it. The damage goes deeper than stats or standings. But here's the twist. Instead of breaking, Indiana fans dug in. They rallied around the players who stayed. They turned the betrayal into fuel. Online forums lit up. The anger morphed into purpose. Calls for accountability flooded the comment sections. And heat turned toward league officials who, so far, have said very little. Too little. Because silence from the top only confirms what many fans already suspect. That the WNBA has a double standard. That bigger franchises can skirt the rules and walk away unscathed, while smaller ones are left to clean up the mess. That ethics are optional when trophies are on the line. This isn't just some petty rivalry drama. This is about the core competition, fairness. And when that gets compromised, everything else starts to crack. Fans are now demanding an investigation. Not a PR statement. Not a quiet internal review. A real public reckoning with what happened. Because if Phoenix was tampering and Tibbetts admitted it on camera, that's not a gray area. It's a violation. Plain and simple. And if the league doesn't act, it's an endorsement. Meanwhile, on social media, the hashtag less chaos is real. Clips are circulating. Edits are flying. WNBA Twitter is on fire. But this isn't just about venting. It's about organizing. Fans know their voices matter. They've seen it before. Pressure works. And they're applying it with precision. There's also a growing push for policy reform. Fans and analysts alike are asking the hard questions. Why aren't tampering rules clearly enforced? Why is there no transparency in investigations? Why are coaches allowed to admit violations without consequence? The league has a choice. Clean this up now or let it fester. Because this scandal isn't just about one shady comment. It's about trust. It's about whether players and fans believe that the WNBA cares about integrity, or if it's all just about protecting power. And the culture shift is happening with or without the league's blessing. Fans are demanding more from teams, from leadership, from everyone. Loyalty matters again. Transparency isn't a bonus. It's the bare minimum. The days of wink-nod deals and quiet tampering are getting exposed one clip at a time. This whole scandal has become a turning point, a moment of clarity. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Because if the WNBA wants to keep growing, and it is growing, then it needs to prove that it can do it the right way. That winning doesn't have to come at the cost of fairness. That loyalty and ethics aren't liabilities. DeWanna Bonner might be in Phoenix now, but the echoes of her departure are louder than ever. And Tibbetts? He might have thought he was being clever with that offhand remark, but what he really did was expose the cracks in the foundation. The league is watching. Fans are watching. And if nothing happens, that says everything. So, here's your moment. What do you think? Should the league investigate Phoenix for tampering? Was this a one-time mistake, or just the tip of the iceberg? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's talk about it. And hey, if you want more unfiltered breakdowns of sports scandals like this one, hit that subscribe button. Because in a world of shady backdoor deals and exposed DMs, we're here to keep the receipts front and center. Accountability isn't optional, and neither is fairness. We'll be watching. Now that the smoke is clearing and fans are connecting the dots, things are starting to look even more coordinated and even more calculated than they did at first glance. Let's really break this down. DeWanna Bonner didn't just vanish from Indiana's plans. She was slowly, methodically extracted, and the people responsible for it didn't just violate the rules. They treated the whole situation like a flex. You have to ask, how long has this been going on? Tibbetts said it himself, multiple seasons. That means while Bonner was suiting up for Indiana, building trust with teammates, making plays, and anchoring the squad's energy, Phoenix was lurking in the background, not just watching, planning, making moves, chipping away at the bond between Bonner and the team that believed in her. That's not just tampering. That's undermining. And for what? A quick talent boost? A headline-grabbing roster move? Here's the irony. What Phoenix pulled off might win a few games, but it cost them something they can't get back. Credibility. And when a team becomes the face of shady business, it sticks. That label doesn't wash off easily, because fans remember, players remember, and other teams, they start playing defense off court. The ripple effect is real. We're talking locker room paranoia, cautious contracts, and a growing fear among smaller franchises that their stars are just one sketchy DM or casual, friendly conversation away from being snatched. Let's not pretend this is new, either. We've seen how power imbalances play out in every major sports league. The big markets get bolder, while the rest of the league is told to trust the process. But this isn't a sitcom where everything resets next week. These are real players, real franchises, real futures. So when someone like Bonner gets pulled mid-build, after Indiana pours time, money, and hope into her leadership, it hits harder than just a bad trade or free agency loss. It's betrayal dressed up as business. And here's what's worse. Phoenix didn't just steal a player. They sabotaged the team dynamic. Because when a player like Bonner walks, it sends shockwaves through the entire roster. The chemistry changes. Morale drops. Younger players start questioning whether loyalty matters at all. And the front office? Left holding the bag. Try to explain to fans and sponsors how a long-term plan got gutted overnight. Let's call this what it is. A strategic heist. And now, everyone's wondering, how many other moves in the league were dirty? How many other clean transitions had months or years of tampering behind them? Because if this one got caught on tape, what about the ones that didn't? That's why this isn't going away. This is the kind of scandal that ages badly. Every day the league stays silent. It looks more complicit. And fans are already tired of the double standards. They've been watching carefully. Who gets penalized, who gets protected, and who gets a slap on the wrist for full-on violations. There's a growing belief that if this were reversed, if Indiana had been the ones tampering to pull a player from Phoenix, the hammer would have already dropped. Fines, suspensions, public apologies, the works. But Phoenix? Still coasting, still tweeting, still smiling through the storm like they didn't just light a match in the middle of a rebuild. And let's talk about why the fan response has been so loud. Because this isn't just about outrage. It's about ownership. Fans feel like their teams are part of their identity. You invest emotionally, financially, sometimes even spiritually. So when someone cheats your team out of a future, you don't just get mad. You mobilize. That's what we're seeing now. Fans turning into watchdogs. Clips being dissected frame by frame. Leaks getting spotlighted. Receipts being archived. This is grassroots accountability at its finest. And it's exposing the cracks the league thought it could gloss over. The WNBA has an opportunity right now. A defining moment. They can either double down on transparency and actually enforce their tampering rules, or they can keep brushing off and risk the trust that's been slowly and painstakingly built with fans over the years. Because let's be clear, the league needs fan trust more than ever. Growth is happening. The spotlight is brighter. More eyes are on the WNBA right now than ever before, and with that attention comes scrutiny. You can't ask for bigger audiences and new sponsors while letting franchises play dirty behind the scenes. You want legitimacy? Then you have to act like it matters. Right now, that means consequences for Phoenix. Real ones. Not a vague statement about reviewing procedures or reminding teams of the rules. We've heard it all before. Fans are past lip service. They want fines, suspensions, strict picks, something that makes it clear this league will not be gamed. Because the alternative? It's already happening. Smaller market teams start retreating. Players get wary. Trust and leadership fades. And the worst part? Casual fans tuning in for the first time start thinking, oh, it's just like every other league. Politics, power games, no real structure. And just like that, the hard-earned momentum fizzles. The WNBA can't afford that right now. Not when it's on the cusp of a true breakthrough. But that breakthrough requires integrity. It demands accountability. And if Phoenix gets a slide on this, it sends the worst possible message. That winning is more important than playing fair. Meanwhile, over in Indiana, you better believe they're taking notes. That team isn't folding. They're angry, yes, frustrated, hurt, but they're also focused. The players who stayed, they're grinding, they're hungry, and most importantly, they're loyal. That kind of loyalty can't be bought or tampered with. It's forged in fire. So maybe Phoenix thinks they pulled off the perfect scheme. Maybe Tibbetts gets a few extra wins under his belt. Maybe they even make a deep run. But down the line, you have to ask, at what cost? Because when it comes to sports legacies, it's not just about rings. It's about how you got them. And right now, Phoenix is writing a chapter they might not be proud of when the dust settles. And DeWanna Bonner, she's in the middle of all this. Talented, respected, but now tied to scandal that's way bigger than her. It's unfortunate, honestly, because instead of her career being defined by her skills and leadership, it's now tangled up in questions of ethics and behind-the-scenes scheming. Fair or not, that's the reality when moves get made like this. And if you're the WNBA watching this unfold, this is your red flag, your siren, your warning sign. Ignore it and you invite chaos. Address it head-on and you send a message. This league is serious about doing things the right way. So what happens now? That's on the league office. But make no mistake, fans aren't letting this go. The footage is out there. The quotes are clear. The timeline lines up. This isn't speculation. This is tampering, confessed in plain sight. And if the league doesn't care, fans will. They'll keep the pressure on. They'll amplify every shady quote, every silence, every deflection, because they know what's at stake. The integrity of the game, the trust between teams and fans, the belief that any team, no matter market size, can build something real. That belief is everything. And once it's gone, it's nearly impossible to get back. So, yeah, this scandal's not over. Not even close. It's just getting started. And how the league responds will define its future more than any buzzer beater or highlight reel. This isn't just a spicy clip moment that blows over in a few news cycles. This is a scar on the league's reputation. The kind that keeps reopening every time fans hear a post-game interview, watch a trade announcement, or see a star player leave a rebuilding team for a flashier zip code. Because once you see the game behind the game, you can't unsee it. DeWanna Bonner's move to Phoenix could have been just another trade, another shift in a long WNBA offseason. But thanks to that leaked quote from Nate Tibbetts, it's become something else entirely. Proof that the power players in the league are playing by their own rules. And they're not even being subtle about it anymore. He said it, flat out, that they've been working on this for seasons. Seasons, which means that while Indiana was developing a team identity, while players were trusting Bonner to be the steady hand in the storm, Phoenix was busy plotting, mapping out when to swoop in, lining up conversations, waiting for their moment to strike. You don't call that smart strategy. You call that manipulation. And let's talk about what that kind of manipulation does to a team like Indiana. This isn't a franchise that's coasting on legacy. They've been fighting for progress, grinding out growth the hard way. Draft picks, young rosters, careful cap management. Building culture, not just chasing headlines. And in the middle of all that, they anchored themselves around Bonner, a respected veteran, a voice of experience. Someone you lean on when you're trying to teach a young squad what professionalism looks like. And then, gone. Not because of a poor fit. Not because of drama in the locker room. But because another team decided they wanted her more, and they didn't feel like waiting. What's worse, the WNBA let them. Because again, what's the point of having tampering rules if the violations don't come with consequences? The Tibbetts quote wasn't vague. He didn't stutter. He casually exposed a multi-season plan to poach a player under contract, and everyone just kept moving like it was normal, like this wasn't a textbook case of league misconduct. And if this doesn't get a response, what will? If you're in Indiana's front office, how do you even react to that? You're told to follow the rules, invest wisely, build from within, and you do all of that. You do it right. Only to have another team snake your core veteran in broad daylight and brag about it, you'd feel betrayed, disrespected. Like the league doesn't care about what you're trying to build unless it fits into a more marketable narrative. And that's the root of it all, isn't it? This whole mess has exposed something deeper. The perception that the league favors its big-name franchises. The legacy teams. The teams with the loudest branding and flashiest sponsorships. When they win, it's good business. When they cheat, it's a PR inconvenience. But when a smaller team gets burned, silence. And in the WNBA, where every fan counts, every game matters, and every storyline helps push the league forward, this kind of double standard is more than just frustrating. It's dangerous. Because if the system is rigged to protect only a handful of teams, the rest of the league stops believing in the process. And once that belief dies, the product suffers. You think fans are going to stay loyal when their team keeps losing players to shady backroom deals? You think up-and-coming stars won't start looking over their shoulders, wondering when they'll be next? Because let's not kid ourselves. If Phoenix gets away with this, they're not the only ones. Other teams are watching, taking notes, figuring out how to work the gray area without getting caught. And suddenly, tampering goes from an exception to the new norm. And here's the kicker. All of this could have been avoided if the league had simply enforced its own rules. Instead, they hesitated, maybe hoping it would blow over, maybe hoping fans would move on. But they didn't, and they won't, because the people who support this league aren't just passive watchers. They care, they're invested, and they want to believe in something better than what the other leagues offer. That belief is hanging by a thread right now. So now it's a test of leadership, of ethics, of how much the WNBA values the integrity it's always claimed to stand for. And time is running out, because the longer this goes unaddressed, the more damage is done. Not just Indiana, but to every team trying to build something legitimate. Every fan trying to root for a team without worrying it'll be rated next season. Every player who wants to believe that their work and loyalty will be rewarded, not exploited. The ball's in the league's court. But make no mistake, fans have already made up their minds. They saw the footage. They heard the words. And they know what they saw. So, here's your final question. Is the WNBA ready to clean house and set a real standard? Or is this just the beginning of a new era of unchecked tampering? Let us know in the comments. Hit subscribe if you're tired of sugar-coated sports coverage and want the real tea every time it spills. And stick with us, because the chaos? Oh, it's just getting started.